The elegant boardroom fell silent as 18-year-old Lily Thompson pointed at the faded signature on the decades-old patent document. "Ma'am, that's my dad's signature," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. The company's powerful CEO, Victoria Winters, stared at the girl in disbelief, then back at the signature that had built her billion-dollar empire. Tears welled in Victoria's eyes as the truth dawned on her. The man who mopped the company floors every night was the same brilliant mind whose invention had changed everything. If you're moved by stories of unsung heroes and the remarkable ways our lives intersect, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more heartwarming stories that reveal the extraordinary in ordinary lives. Your support helps us continue sharing these powerful human journeys. Lily Thompson shifted uncomfortably in the plush leather chair that felt worlds away from the worn-out sofa in the one-bedroom apartment she shared with her father. The Winters Innovations headquarters gleamed with wealth, glass walls, modern art, and employees in tailored suits who'd barely spared her a glance as security escorted her to the top floor. "Ms. Thompson, I understand you've requested this meeting regarding our scholarship program," said Victoria Winters, the company's legendary CEO. At 55, Victoria had built Winters Innovations into a technology empire from nothing. Her sharp eyes assessed Lily with practiced precision. "Yes, ma'am," Lily replied, trying to keep her voice steady. "I wanted to discuss my application personally." Victoria raised an eyebrow. "That's highly unusual. We have thousands of applicants." "I know, but my situation is different." Lily's hands trembled as she reached for her worn backpack. "I believe I have a unique connection to your company." Victoria leaned back, visibly impatient. "Ms. Thompson, I have a board meeting in 20 minutes. Lily pulled out a yellowed envelope. "My father has worked as a night janitor here for 15 years. He's never missed a day, even when he was sick. He's the hardest working person I know." "That's commendable, but..." "He never finished high school, but he made sure I did. I graduated top of my class," Lily continued. "I want to study engineering, like he never could." Victoria's expression softened slightly, but her tone remained firm. "Our scholarship isn't based on family connections, Ms. Thompson. That's not why I'm here." Lily carefully removed a fragile document from the envelope. "Last month, my father had a stroke. While organizing his things at the hospital, I found this in his lockbox." She slid the paper across the polished table. Victoria glanced down with mild curiosity that quickly transformed into stunned recognition. "This is the original patent for the W circuit," Victoria whispered, touching the paper reverently. The W circuit was the revolutionary technology that had launched Winters Innovations 20 years ago, a breakthrough in microprocessor design that had made computing faster and more efficient. "Where did you get this?" Victoria demanded, her composure cracking. Lily pointed to the signature at the bottom. "Ma'am, that's my dad's signature. Robert Thompson." Victoria stared at the familiar signature she'd seen countless times on cleaning reports. "That's impossible. The W circuit was designed by Richard Wellington. He sold me the patent before he disappeared." "Richard Wellington was the name my father used before we had to move and change our identities," Lily explained quietly. "He was running from something, someone, who threatened our lives. That's all he ever told me." Victoria's hands trembled as she examined the document more carefully, comparing the signature to a maintenance form on her desk. The similarity was unmistakable. "The night janitor," she whispered. "All these years." Robert Thompson had always been a man of few words and simple routines. Each night, he donned his gray uniform with the Winters Innovations logo and quietly moved through the building's vast corridors, mopping floors and emptying trash bins while the world slept. Lily had grown up watching her father return home exhausted at dawn, his hands calloused and cracked from harsh cleaning chemicals. He'd make her breakfast before she left for school, then sleep for a few hours before taking on odd repair jobs around the neighborhood. What Lily hadn't known until recently was that while she slept, her father often paused outside the research labs, watching young engineers work through problems he could solve in minutes. Sometimes, when no one was looking, he'd correct equations left on whiteboards, his corrections always mysteriously attributed to late-night inspiration by the engineers the next day. Victoria Winters summoned her executive team and cleared her schedule. By afternoon, she sat across from Lily in a private hospital room where Robert Thompson lay unconscious, monitors beeping steadily beside him. "The doctors say he might never regain full speech or mobility," Lily explained, gently holding her father's hand. "The medical bills are astronomical. That's why I need the scholarship so desperately. I can't afford college and his care." Victoria studied the man's weathered face. 20 years ago, a brilliant young engineer approached me with an incredible design. I was just starting out, struggling to get investors. The W circuit changed everything. It made Winters Innovations what it is today." She paused, her voice thick with emotion. "That engineer took a pittance for it, said he needed quick cash and wanted no recognition. He was afraid," Lily said. "I've pieced together bits of our history. Before I was born, Dad worked for Monarch Technologies. Their CEO, Harrison Pierce, was ruthless about intellectual property. When Dad created the W circuit on his own time, Pierce threatened him. Said he'd destroy him if he didn't hand it over." Victoria nodded slowly. "Pierce was a monster in the industry. He died 5 years ago. Dad didn't know that. He's been looking over his shoulder for 20 years, working minimum wage jobs, hiding his brilliance." Lily's voice broke. "He could have been running your R&D department. Instead, he was mopping its floors." Over the following weeks, Victoria launched a discreet but thorough investigation. The evidence was irrefutable. Robert Thompson was indeed Richard Wellington, the mysterious genius whose work had built her fortune. Meanwhile, Robert's condition improved marginally. He couldn't speak more than a few words, but his eyes followed conversations, and he could squeeze Lily's hand in response to questions. On a rain-soaked Tuesday, Victoria returned to the hospital with her lawyers and a stack of documents. "Your father didn't just create the W circuit," Victoria told Lily. "The mathematical framework he developed has been the foundation for at least 12 other patented technologies we've produced. He should have been credited, and compensated, as the original innovator." She placed the documents on the bedside table. "These papers establish a trust in your father's name. Back pay, royalties, plus interest. He's now officially recognized as Winters Innovations' founding engineer and holds 20% of the company's shares." Lily stared at the papers in disbelief. "I don't understand." "Your father is now worth approximately $2.4 billion, Victoria said matter-of-factly, though her eyes shimmered with unshed tears. "And we've established the Robert Thompson Engineering Scholarship for underprivileged students with exceptional promise." Robert's monitor beeped faster as tears rolled down his weathered cheeks. He struggled to lift his hand, pointing weakly at Victoria, then to his heart. "He's trying to say thank you," Lily translated, her own vision blurred with tears. Victoria shook her head. "No, I'm thanking him. For 20 years, I've taken credit for a success story that wasn't entirely mine to claim." She took Robert's hand gently. "And I'm sorry you felt you had to hide. No one should have to bury their brilliance." 6 months later, Robert Thompson sat in a wheelchair on a stage, dressed in a suit instead of a janitor's uniform, as Victoria Winters announced the opening of the Thompson Innovation Center, a new division focused on developing accessible technology for people with disabilities. Lily stood beside her father, no longer the desperate scholarship applicant but a freshman engineering student and the heir to her father's legacy. The audience applauded as Robert, still limited in speech but improving weekly with intensive therapy, raised a shaky hand in acknowledgement. Later that evening, in the comfort of their new home, a modest house close to both the hospital and university, Lily asked the question that had been bothering her. "Dad, why did you choose to work as a janitor at Winters Innovations? Weren't you afraid of being recognized?" With effort, Robert typed on his communication tablet, "Wanted to see my work helping people. Proud of Victoria. She built something good." Lily read the words aloud, her voice catching. "But you could have claimed your place years ago, after Pierce died." "Too late then," he typed. "Didn't want to take away from her success. She earned it." "But she built her success on your invention," Lily argued gently. Robert slowly shook his head and typed again, "Ideas need champions. I had ideas. She made them real." Victoria had insisted on hiring the best rehabilitation specialists for Robert. Day by day, he reclaimed small pieces of his former self. The brilliant mind that had revolutionized computing now focused on relearning how to speak, how to walk, how to live without fear. At Winter's Innovations, Robert's story transformed company culture. Victoria established a new policy encouraging all employees, from executives to maintenance staff, to submit ideas and innovations. The company's newly diverse perspectives led to unprecedented growth. For Lily, life had transformed beyond recognition. Yet amid the wealth and opportunity, she remained grounded by her father's example, his humility, his quiet dignity through years of anonymity, and his extraordinary forgiveness. 1 year after Lily's fateful meeting with Victoria, Robert Thompson stood without assistance for the first time since his stroke. In the privacy of their home garden, with only his daughter watching, he took 3 shaky steps before Lily rushed to support him. "I'm proud of you, Dad," she whispered. Robert, whose speech had improved to short sentences with great effort, looked at her with eyes bright with unshed tears. "No, Lily," he replied slowly. "Proud of you. You had courage. I never did." That evening, Victoria joined them for dinner, a regular occurrence that had evolved from professional obligation to genuine friendship. As they shared a meal, Victoria raised her glass. "To courage in all its forms," she said. "And to legacies that find their way home, no matter how long the journey." Robert nodded, reaching first for his daughter's hand, then Victoria's. The 3 unlikely friends, the janitor who was a genius, the daughter who uncovered truth, and the CEO who chose justice over pride, had rewritten their stories together. Outside their window, the Thompson Innovation Center glowed in the distance, its lights a beacon of possibility for the brilliant minds who might otherwise remain unseen. The story of Robert Thompson and Victoria Winters reminds us that true greatness often hides in plain sight. Sometimes, the person changing your life might be the one you pass without notice in the hallway. Sometimes, the greatest act of courage is simply speaking truth to power. And sometimes, redemption comes not in grand gestures, but in simple recognition of our shared humanity. If this story touched your heart, please remember to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs a reminder that it's never too late for justice, for healing, or for second chances. Until next time, remember to look twice at the quiet souls around you. They might just be carrying the most extraordinary stories of all.